Hey, friends. My name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adaptive Perspective and the Adaptive Perspective social media platforms. And I am back with an update on the market at large and how we can use closed-end funds to improve our investing. And if it looks like I'm tired, I am because it's late. And I initially started this video later than normal because that's just how the day's gone. But now I'm starting it really later, a lot later than normal because and I've said this before, the Microsoft tech team is a bunch of fucking assholes for releasing a product with known issues. I got to the end of the video and the system paused. And you would have thought after their BS CrowdStrike issues that they would have patched the systems and fixed this shitty Windows 11 operating system. But no, it's still the same shitty Windows 11 operating system. And say what you like, say what you want about Apple and the ongoing Microsoft Apple war. But I can say this: Apple takes care of their customers, and you get to talk to somebody in person who can troubleshoot your issues. And if they can't fix it, they'll replace it for free. Microsoft sends you to a troubleshooting page that makes no sense and offers no solutions. And really, the best solution is to buy another product. And that's just not how you keep customers. So, such is life at the moment. So, this is an unedited video and an unfiltered video, I guess. So, who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in my house. I am not a financial advisor, I am a financial strategist, and I don't speak like the herd. I walk in limited company, and sometimes I walk alone. And tonight, apparently, I'm walking a little more, talking a little more unfiltered. So, last week, I mean, the obvious statement was last week was volatile. On the whole, the market stayed pretty much even. It finished almost break even, but the underlying sentiment is extreme fear. JP Morgan forecast like 35% forecasted a recession this year. Donald Trump warned of a recession next year, as well as the potential of wars if policies don't change. The market at large thinks the Fed waited too long to curtail rates. And besides all those schmuck financial talk show circle junkies who did nothing for the sheep on their shows, because I've been talking recession for like a year, and those assholes haven't even talked about it once. Because if they had, their newbie investors and sheep would not have freaked out and caused that blip, or hopefully not a birth pang of something greater, but um, whatever little blip or correction we saw on Monday, we was because those talk show idiots finally threw out the recession word and freaked out the newbies. Jerks. So whether we get hit with an official recession or somebody relabels the word recession because it's been done before to make it look good for the Biden Harris regime and the Fed, we're likely in a recession or the prelude to a recession and potentially headed for worse if voters don't make some key changes. And I don't normally talk politics, but I'm going to for a little bit because there are some key differences you have to understand about your investments and the political landscape. First and foremost, there is no perfect candidate. And second, it's not like you're picking, I don't even know how to phrase that. You're picking the representation that you want. It's your ability to be more than a pawn on somebody's chessboard and vote for the lifestyle you want. And that lifestyle image is important because the US needs policies that benefit everyone, not just the elites in power and not just the random who knows who they are people coming across the border. And that means we need Trump back in the White House. We had more money in our pockets with Trump. The country was safer There was cheaper gas, cheaper utilities, cheaper groceries, cheaper everything. Like him or not, right? Like his personality or not, you cannot look past the reality that life with Trump in the White House meant more leftover money in your bank and more money left over for you to spend it or use it or save it wherever it needed to be. The 2024 election choice could not be clearer, especially after Tim Walz joined Kamala's ticket. The Kamala Walz ticket would raise all existing taxes, further gouge all of our pockets, and shake us down like a kid's piggy bank and ship more paper money overseas. Kamala and her partner are communists, and they say as much. They believe that everybody starts at different places and the government should step in and equalize that and determine where everybody ends up. Did you catch it? So that they think the government should determine where everybody ends up, right? And the government gets to determine how well or how poor that is. If everybody ends up in the same place and we're all living as homeless hobbits, then the government's fine with that, right? And the elites are happy because we're homeless and they're not, right? The Trump Vance ticket would put America and Americans first. The foreign aid would drop. We'd have a border. We'd make our own energy and keep it in the United States. We would sell the extra energy, right? And by making and using homegrown energy, that would drive down the cost of everything and give us more money to save and spend and invest. Currently, we make energy in the US and we export it. And then we buy foreign energy, which isn't manufactured the same. It's more expensive. We have to process it further, right? And then we require everybody in the US to use foreign energy, which then drives the cost up. That's the most inefficient policy possible. Why not make all of our own energy, drive the cost down, make it cheaper for us to exist, and then sell everybody else the extra energy we already have? It makes perfect sense. It's that simple. So why even mention this? Like, why talk politics? Because it's the choice before us all. Just like we have choices with investments, we have choices with leadership. If our goal is to improve our investments and make more money and keep that additional money, then the election choice should be clear. And if you want to fork over more money and piss your retirement away as it's handed to others, then you haven't been paying attention. I don't generally talk politics, but it's got to be said. Those dime a dozen talk show circle junkies never talk about the big picture. They wave a flashy coin and their sheep follow. They ring a bell and their sheep invest. And they do not tell you the truth on how politics impacts your investing. Right? And y'all remember my normal spiel of things, why I like closed-end funds. They give us access to great funds with better than 8% dividends and price gains, and they sell on discounts. We get super low risk. We get improved upsides as the discounts close. And you can access those closed-end funds on pretty much any platform, Merrill Lynch, Charles Schwab, wherever you do your investing, you can buy a closed-end fund, right? So in this Biden-Harris market, and what would be the Kamala Walz market, we're doing our best to optimize return when there's not much extra to be had. And if you budget, you're further adapting that strategy and searching for loose change at this point. In a Trump Vance market, you have more money, things don't cost as much, and you have more to invest, which would further spur your gains. We do budget, and we had money left over every month with Trump compared to scraping the bottom of the barrel and looking for loose change in the seams right now. The 2024 election and its impacts on this country, as well as its impacts upon your investing, could not be clearer. And I hope this makes sense. I really do. I hope this makes sense for you. So instead of going back through all the normal data and reviewing everything, I'm just going to skip that part. So regardless of who's in the White House, our strategy remains the same. See the big picture, play the long game, think for yourself. Use the closed-end fund system. Right? The system works. You just got to let it work. We have a code. So we use the system and we follow the code, which is we follow the code unless there's a good reason not to follow it. Right? It's more like guidelines and rules. So we want to know our strategy. We want to know what we're currently targeting and why. We want to take macro data, like the giant concepts data, and condense that and synthesize that down into microcosm data, like our world data, because it allows us to weed through all the options and really sift all that data out. We want to buy historic discounts, which means you have to do your homework or you let me do it for you. We want to focus on consistent and rising dividend players and dividend payers for that matter. And when those dividends get paid mattered. So we've been targeting monthly for maybe the last year, right? And then you want to be mindful of the overall dividend yield. Our focus has been 9% plus, unless there's a good reason to consider something else. And one of those is going to be on the list this week. So has the target list changed? Not really. It's still fixed income. It's still bonds, loans, and real estate, as well as some stock and type funds. And you have to see the bigger picture, have to. So current national mortgage average is 6.5. That's up a little bit from last week, but not much, which is kind of funny because last week it was like national mortgage average is 6.4%. And then this week, the headline was national mortgage rates are 6.5, lowest they've been in a calendar year. And it's like, really? Because they were lower last week. The Fed is supposed to finally cut rates in September. How much is the question? But whether it's 0.25% or 0.5%, they're still going to cut rates, which will spur the market. And in the typical market, rates would go down, bonds would go up. Like the rates would decrease, the bond pricing would increase. And in theory, stock prices would improve as well. But there's still a lot of volatility in the market. One, and two, in a recession, overall stock prices drop, but bond prices should go up. So I'm tempted to buy some stocks, really one fund in particular. But because of the current market space, I think it's still best to wait on stocks in general. It's still with the Fed prepping to cut rates, like they've announced as much that they're going to cut rates, then fixed income bonds or just bonds in general make more sense in the current market because it's play the current market for the long game. And for the most part, the market on Friday was pretty much the market on Monday. So we had that giant blip, or at least it looked like a giant blip, but it was like it seemed to resolve by end of week, but it's still not the whole picture. People are still pretty scared. Recession looming. And it makes me hesitate, to be honest. So we started last week with a game plan. We start this week with a specific game plan. But before I get into that, let me show you this closed-end fund master and hopefully get through a video without it pausing. Oh, you get to see the filter data that I ended with. Well, this mouse has been everything tricky. So we'll delete this and then add 35 lines because that'll be enough. Come over to the master, resort it by discount, resort it by target. And instead of me getting into the spiel of everything, we own the stuff in blue. This one used to be light blue because we owned it in both funds, but we sold it in the individual fund. Stick it in this one. Purchase price, if it matters, of what we already own, but I don't think it's going to matter. Current of what we already own. This mouse. And it's a new battery. It's not like that. It's just this mouse. Maybe it's just this computer. So first things first. This thing is so funky. First things first. We get rid of these two. And then we sort by yield. This would stay. And the yield has gone up because the price has gone down. It's currently the cheapest it's been in a long time. You're getting it for 46 cents on the dollar. Um, and it's now the cat witching hour. Wonderful. These are all sub 9. Those come off. Of these funds, they're very similar, but these are the more expensive versions, and I like the other portfolio better. And utilities, we're kind of late to the utility party. Utilities are up um, for a lot of reasons, a part of which we buy foreign energy to then use it here, which makes so little sense. Um, but we're late to the utility party, so we're here. And that leaves us with a list of things we own inside the Roth account and a fund that is all stocks, but it also is all tech in the sense that all of these funds require tech in order to work. So technology is not just uh, Taiwan Semiconductor Company, Meta, Amazon, Apple, etc. Everybody uses tech to conduct business. So the outright tech investments in BXG, ETW are outright tech investments, but all of these companies are tech based. Cat witching hour, not fun. Um, so since I've already explained this once, um, I could argue for any of these and cover any number of strategies. But it's probably good for you to know that we already bought bonds on Monday. Like we used the dip to buy some funds. And what in the world did I just do there? Um, So since we already bought bonds, we're not buying bonds Monday. And I can argue for this. I could make a good argument to pick this up super cheap with, God, like 46 cents on the dollar. It's a better yield than it has been. I still think the overall dividend will come up as more of their portfolio comes online, but I hesitate because of the stock component of the market. That being said, we are going to buy this, which is all stocks. And I get that probably doesn't go well together. But the goal with selling NBXG in the individual brokerage was to sell it out of that, take the proceeds, carry them forward, and then buy another set inside the Roth. So to do that, and of what we currently have, so we rounded that on Monday. We already had that, bought more of that. NBXG, we have that. CIF, we bought more. HFRO, there we go. So I could make a case for HFRO because it's a crazy discount and the lowest price it's been, and the yield's better because the price is so low. I could make a case to pick up 100 shares and then just let it hang out. And make a case for ETW. They juice their dividends. And in a short-term scenario, that sounds great. But it makes me hesitate because of the stocks component. Um, Global Fund is a little more volatile. They manage a lot of, yeah, they have a ton of assets. Almost all of these companies do. Um, and it is an all tech fund in the sense of everybody uses tech, but it's also still part consumer. And outright stocks might not do so well in a recession. I think that one might do better just because it's more tech, and tech is just needed in our society at the moment. I think real estate is poised to do well with a lower rate cut or with a lower rate market and a rate cut. So, like, I could argue for that. MBXG is the same thing. Like, I could read all of this to you, but you can pause the video and just check it out for yourself. It's a 5G tech company. Um, and it's not just outright tech. Like, it does have Meta and Amazon and Qualcomm, and I mean, you can look for yourself. Oh, it deleted. Uh, yeah, still pretty accurate based on current. Um, FSCO is fixed income bonds. They are their own private lender at this point. HLB is a mixed portfolio. BRW is bonds, but not fixed, high fixed income bonds. Um, but BRW is also a backdoor play into NBXG because they own the majority shares of NBXG. And I like that the pro shareholder activist fund is really trying to change the closed end fund landscape for the shareholders. Cat. So I can make cases for all of them. And I get they're somewhat counterproductive. Like, that makes me hesitant because of the recession. That's that's stocks, yes, but it's also uh, like private equity into real estate, and it's not all online yet. This is all stocks, but it's more specific 5G technology driven than that portfolio. And I get some of that gets murky. So since we just bought a batch of bond funds, and since the goal was to sell NBXG in the individual account to then pick up another 50 set in the Roth account, that's the strategy for Monday. The rest of the market in general, we're going to wait a little bit and see where it goes. The only thing I would consider adding this week I mean, yeah, if everything dropped again, I mean, when the market drops and people sell, it's just a great time to buy. But the only thing I'm somewhat specifically tracking, I guess, two things right now is if this goes lower, then that would be tempting. But and I have no idea what the hell my cat is doing in the background. If he's tearing shit up again. Cat. Um, seriously, that cat is driving me nuts. Um, so I'm checking this to see about that pricing. But if honestly, if that drops to like 1.7, that's pretty much the average right now, then I would pick up another 100 shares because the goal with that fund was to hit 300 shares invested and let it sit, let it climb close to $3, sell it, and then carry the money forward into something else. Short term overall, in the course of everything else on the investment side of things, cat is driving me nuts. I don't know if you can hear the wrestling in the background. That would be my cat. So I'm sorry if the, well, I'm not sorry. If I'm not sorry, I'm not trying to be shady in how we pick things, but the truth is the goal last week was to sell this in the one account so we could pick it up in the next account. And then if that hit one, like lower than the average or at the average, pick up another 100. But the rest of it, I could make cases for all of them, but we're still going to sit and see how the market goes. So without further ado, and without more rambling, that is what I have for the week. So wherever your destination lies, you will not reach the deserted island or the treasure chest without knowing where you're going and why. Like, why go through all the hoops? Why travel all the distance? Right? Your dreams will not happen on their own. They will not randomly happen. You got to have a battle plan. You got to have an approach so you can so that you can like solve your problem with a purpose. It's whether you think of it this way or not, we all captain our ships and you direct its course, right? So you got to know where you're going and why. Have to. Otherwise, you're just floating along aimlessly, carried by the winds wherever the wind blows. And maybe randomly it'll carry you to that deserted island with the treasure chest, or maybe it'll carry you into the rocks and your ship will break, right? Your dreams will not happen and will not manifest on their own. It's not like I want to do this and poof, it happens. You must focus, you must face, you have to, I don't know how else to say it. I feel like I'm rambling at this point. Maybe because I'm tired and sleep. It's you have to face this with purpose. It is not random and it is not happenstance. You work your ass off, right? And we make progress. They will not happen on their own. You must make your dreams happen. Have to. It's not poof, problem solved. It is nose to the grindstone, full mast, full sail, and going. So if you want more info on that, then check out my Facebook page called Navigate Your Finances, where I get into the whole system of our 12 steps to financial freedom. But if you remember nothing else, your dreams will not happen on their own. Make them happen. And if what you're doing one day is not driving you towards whatever dream and goal that is, it is probably not going to help you accomplish your dreams. So I will see y'all on another video. I wish you a great week, and I hope your investing goes. I hope your investing goes well. So, and I hope you're learning. So if you have comments, let me know. But I'm always down for a chat. And if you want to talk bigger system getting from a full-time job and progressing into something that is not that full-time job, then come find me on Facebook. But have a great week, everybody. See you later.